Hey y'all, it's been a while since I've made one of these types of videos. The last one I did was actually after the Michigan race, which was 2 weeks ago because NASCAR went on to its Cup off weekend and didn't really talk about any Xfinity or truck things from Iowa. But it's time to talk about Cup from Sonoma. The last of NASCAR on Fox's coverage of 2019 is at Sonoma for the Toyota Save Mart 350 carousel included, which made the track a little bit longer, put the race lap distance down to 90 laps from 110, and race once again was nothing special, nothing to really write home about in this race. It was a lot like the 2018 race. That we had, where it was just kind of like there, nothing, not a lot really happened. Some stuff happened, but it wasn't really anything big, and there are some reasons for that. But really, this video isn't as much about Sonoma as it is about the disconnect that I felt with NASCAR this year, and it's something that I haven't felt since 2013, really. But to talk about Sonoma really quickly and what I think happened is the stages on road courses, especially Sonoma, have really ruined road course races. I say that because stages, at a place like a road course where the laps are so long, you can pit under green and not lose a lap, no matter who you are, really. So it sets up a thing where once we get down to the end of stages, drivers are going to pit with 3 to go in a stage so that they could cycle out ahead. And that's where the stage aspect kind of ruins it, because it sets up strategy, but it's not road course strategy, if you know what I mean. I used to, love NASCAR going to Sonoma because of the different strategies. One of the races that really pops out to me in terms of strategy was 2014, where I think Carl Edwards stopped 2 or 3 times, and Jeff Gordon, who finished second behind him, stopped like 4 times, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who finished third, stopped like 6 times. In my mind, that is NASCAR road course racing. Different strategies, and it all works out to produce the same effect. It was always going to Sonoma, who's going to do what? Is someone going to try and stop 2 times? Is someone going to try and stop 3 times? Is someone going to try and do 4 stops? It was always something different. And it was always like, when would cautions fall, that would produce some of this stuff. Now it's just kind of like, well, who's going to stay out to get stage points? We saw in the race, William Byron started second, took off, led all of stage number 1, ended up staying out, winning stage 1, getting some playoff points and some bonus points as well, which could be beneficial towards, the championship if he were to make the chase. However, then he pits and then he falls back into the teens and never recovers because he's put back there. And then Denny Hamlin ends up staying out and winning stage number 2, and he doesn't end up fighting for the win. He ends up getting a pretty decent result, though, for Hamlin. It was a Toyota dominant day for sure, as all 4 JGR cars were inside the top 10. Matt DiBenedetto, JGR affiliate, ended up inside the top 5 with a 4th place finish. That was pretty cool for Matt DiBenedetto to see him run pretty well at the road course. But I mean, I just wish that road courses didn't have stages. Not only does it kind of hurt the strategy, but the stages are so short. At a place like the Xfinity race at Road America, those stages are like 8 or 10 laps long. It's not even long at all. And it just it just ruins everything that road racing is. Road racing is a bunch of strategy, especially in NASCAR, strategy and good hard racing, with the strategy and different strategies coming together to play out the same way. We don't really see that now with the stages. So in my mind, I just wish at road courses, maybe even everywhere. I mean, just don't throw the yellow for stages. You could hand out the points, right? Just don't throw the yellow once you do hand out the points, especially at road courses. Because in my mind, that's what's really ruined Sonoma the past few years with stages, is the fact that, it kind of just sets up the strategy. You have to follow this baseline strategy if you want to have a shot to win. If you want to win at Sonoma, you have to pit with 2 to go in stage 1, 2 to go in stage 2, and then stay out after both those stages and then inherit the lead. That's what happened to Mart Truex Jr. once again. He won again at Sonoma. It's his 4th victory of the season. We are still stuck at 6 winners so far in the 2019 NASCAR campaign, which is the same amount of winners we had last year at this point. In fact, if no one new wins Chicago, then we'll be on the same track. If someone new wins Daytona, someone new wins Watkins Glen, Bristol, we get up to that. But I think that's enough about the stages and road courses. In my mind, they just don't mix. But the biggest thing is the disconnect I felt within NASCAR. The biggest I felt since 2013, but it does not compare to 2013 at all. So no one really knows, I wasn't doing this stuff in 2013. No one really knows what I was like in terms of NASCAR in 2013. It was my third full-time season watching the sport. 2011, 2012 were both fantastic seasons for NASCAR. That type of car just produced the best racing ever. 2013, they switched over to the Gen 6, and so what I could give you is a rundown of the schedule and what races I remember and what races I remember not watching. I watched the 500, obviously. At Phoenix, I did not watch any of that at all. I can't remember Vegas. I can't remember watching Bristol. I remember watching Fontana. I remember watching Martinsville. I remember the Texas race when Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think he was running inside the top 3, and then he had some battery issues. I remember I stopped watching after the battery issues. I remember not watching Kansas at all. I don't remember watching Richmond. I remember watching Talladega. I remember watching Darlington. I remember at Charlotte I watched some until I think Junior blew up and then I stopped watching. I remember watching Dover. I went to Pocono. Michigan is one that really sticks in my mind. So I was watching this race, right? And at one point, Junior took the lead, and some yellows came out, and then he almost choked it away in restart. But I remember him leading and switching it to some other program because I just did not want to watch it at all. And then he blew up, and I didn't really watch the rest of it. I remember watching Sonoma and Kentucky and Daytona. I remember at Loudon leaving to do something that I didn't even have to do. I just left during the race. I didn't even have to do it. I just remember doing that. I remember watching Indy at Pocono. I fell asleep. I don't think it was during the race. I think I just fell asleep before the race and slept through most of it. I think I woke up with about like 30 laps to go. I remember watching Watkins Glen at Michigan. Missed the whole thing. The Bristol night race I kind of remember watching, so I probably did. I don't really remember watching Atlanta at all. I remember watching Richmond because that was a crazy race. Chicagoland, I went to sleep before the race started. Loudon, I didn't watch. At Dover, once again, had the choice to watch it. I was at home. The race was on downstairs. I was upstairs doing something else. I didn't want to watch the race. I, don't know why. Don't remember Kansas. Charlotte, I don't remember. Talladega, I remember going somewhere in the middle of it. Once again, didn't have to go there. Don't remember Martinsville. Remember Texas and Phoenix and Homestead. So as you can tell, I really did not care that season. That was a season where it was just kind of like, whatever, secondary thing. Obviously, it's not to the extreme in 2019. I want to watch the races in 2019. But if I miss the race or miss part of the race, I'm just like, whatever. It's not really a big deal. Whatever. There's other races. And, that's kind of different because the last few years, most notably 2017 and 2018, if I missed a race or if I missed part of a race, I went back, and since NASCAR uploads their full race on YouTube, I would make sure to watch the part that I missed or watch the whole race that I missed. Last year in 2018, I missed part of the Atlanta race. I went back and watched that. I missed most of the Brickyard race. I went back and watched all of it. At Watkins Glen, I missed the first 2 stages. Went back and watched all of Watkins Glen. There are so many races that I missed out on last season. A good portion of races last season that I missed out on. Yeah, I went back and I watched, them. Martinsville, missed the first part of that race, watched it. The first Martinsville race. Bristol, the first Bristol race, missed part of that. Went back and watched that. This season, I missed, I think, the first stage of the Las Vegas race. Have not gone back and rewatched that. At All Cup, I saw the last 10 laps of it. Have not watched the other 190 laps at all. I've only seen highlights of what happened. Other races, I've missed some. Michigan, I missed the first part. I don't remember how much I missed, but have not watched the parts that I've missed. And Sonoma, I watched most of it. It was on and off that I watched, but the parts that I missed, I don't want to go back and rewatch it. So it's personal preference on what someone wants out of racing. And in my opinion, the type of racing that NASCAR's had in 2019 has made me turn away from the sport just a little bit. I have not cared about it as much as I have in 2018. 2018, 2017, 2016, and so on and so forth. Um, it's just kind of like I want to watch it, but if I do miss it for whatever reason, I'm just like, whatever. It probably wouldn't have been for me anyway. So yeah, I just wish that the package would change and make it more of a driver's type of package. I've always loved races where drivers were sideways and drivers were on the edge of control, on the edge of wrecking, and having to manhandle their car, talent showcasing itself, like Kyle Larson rim riding the wall out of control on the edge of disaster. That's awesome racing in my opinion. That's why Homestead is one of my favorite racetracks. That is a racetrack where it has produced some of the best racing, rim riding. You choose different lanes. It's like a driver's racetrack. But then, now we switch to the 2019 package, which is more, momentum-based racing. I don't like momentum-based racing at all. So you try to get the run, and you try to make the pass, you pull out of line, but if you don't make the pass, you're going to lose some spots because you had to lift out of the gas just a little bit. On top of that, we have a gigantic spoiler, and getting behind someone gives you a huge amount of dirty air where you have to lift if you get within a certain spot, and then you lose time because of that. I would much rather see drivers have to manhandle their car, get sideways, racing with each other. That's just some badass racing. Just seeing drivers out of control and racing each other hard, side by side and whatnot. But we have a 550 horsepower package with a gigantic spoiler. Obviously, Sonoma used the 700 horsepower package, but they still have the gigantic spoiler and whatnot. I just want I just want a small spoiler. I don't want 8 inches of spoiler. At max, give me 3 or 4 inches. And then 2 inches would be fine. I want to see drivers out of control have to drive their cars, but so I'm saying this right now because NBC is taking over, and the true testament is going to be, is NBC going to latch me back on to NASCAR to where I feel the same as I did last year, or in 2017, or in 2016 with the sport? That question is going to be answered with Chicagoland and Daytona and Kentucky and Loudon, so on and so forth. I hope to God NBC reels me back in. For now, we're just going to have to see. So I guess NBC's portion of the season could not have come at a better time because I was losing some interest because of Fox's portion. But I think that's all I really have to say about it. Thanks for watching. And Chicagoland is next. Last season we saw slide job and some crazy stuff. You're not going to see that this season with the package, that's for sure. You might see some sort of draft-based finish, maybe. I don't know. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys for the next video.